I'm mainly peer mentor, which is working with clients, working alongside them, helping them give support and help they need. I know what it's like, so I can identify and empathise with clients, and I just have a good manner and with people. I'm pretty calm and relaxed, so people kind of appreciate that I'm easy to talk to. I'm proud that I've helped many clients to get where they wanted to be, and been with them on their journey and witnessed the journey to where they wanted to be. It's quite a warm, nice feeling, and I'm quite proud of that. I'd like to think of myself as like a expert by experience, and we can walk along. I can walk alongside them and understand where they're coming from, whereas a recovery worker may not, if you know what I mean, because I've lived that kind of hectic, crazy lifestyle, so I identify with. Since I've been clean, my mind has been like a sponge for information, and I want to learn everything, but it takes time, and I will get there.
It gradually eats away at your confidence without you knowing. Drug abuse and drink abuse, it takes away your confidence in yourself, because you start to believe that drink and drugs, that's your support, that's your friend. You can't do without it, so you're reliant on it. And so if you try to do the slightest thing away from that, even basics, your confidence just flounders. I actually was put onto DHI before I went into rehab. So when I came out, I kept in touch with them because as backup. I had counselling from the rehab for about 12 weeks, and I had backup with DHI, and they put me into a group called Maintaining Recovery, which is people join each week when you've come off the booze, you've detoxed. And then you just meet every week and you discuss with each other how you're getting on, how you feel about being without your substance of choice, how you're dealing with life in general. And when that stopped, the leaders of the group actually said to me, Rachel, you've given so much to this group, which is really flattering for me. It was really lovely that they said that. And I said, well, is there anything else I can do? And so they then said, well, why don't you get in touch with Savannah here in Bristol? So I did. And she said, yes, come on board. And I said, well, I'm interested in peer support. From there on, I haven't stopped doing things. I mean, I have a couple of clients that I phone. I say clients, that's not a very nice word to use. People who I phone who are in a similar position to me. So as a supporter of them, then I give them a call to see how they're doing. I'm also doing work with a theatre company we've started between Paul, Dana and myself. And I'm also doing a wellbeing group each week with Terry. So we're helping people who, after maintaining recovery, are actually deciding what they'd like to do with their recovery, what they can do in their spare time, what they like to do in their spare time, what they would like to see happen in the future. And that's a weekly thing that we do with DHI as well. So it's all very valuable stuff. And it's very good for me to know that I'm doing something to help other people who are in my position and have been in a position that I was in.
Oh yeah, my life's been a roller coaster ride of peaks and troughs. I've had a problem with substance misuse since about 13, 14. It wasn't just alcohol, it was like magic mushrooms, LSD, and then it was just like a progression really. Due to my alcoholism, I ended up getting thrown out of the house that I was living at. Yeah, I just ended up homeless. That was at the beginning of the first lockdown. When I was in the tent, I felt my life force slipping away a couple of times. Now, I'm a really resilient person, you know what I mean? I'm a tough person. I've lived a precarious life, you know. But when I feel something like that, I know that things aren't good, you know, physically, mentally. And the outreach services that I was accessing and the DHI recognised that. And it was sort of like a multi-agency cooperation where they helped to get me housed quite quickly, Do you know what I mean? Because they could see that I wasn't very well mentally, emotionally, physically. Well, I peer mentored people over the phone, helping them with the journey, harm minimalisation, working towards abstinence, and even maintaining abstinence. I've been doing stuff in like the hostels, one of the hostels, you know, offering DHI support, and knowing that I've got lived experience, do you know what I mean, helps people to relate better, you know, because they know that I've been through it as well. So it's just been this last year and a half has just been an amazing journey. My well-being is just, yeah, it's just, my life's really fulfilled today, it really is.
I stopped working in around about 2016, and that was because I've got ME. I'm working full-time, a single parent with 2 children. Had to be really, the balance was too swayed too far one way, so I decided to take some time out from my career just to sort of focus on my health and my kids. Originally I came to DHI as a client myself, and that came about because I kind of realised that I had sort of problematic use of alcohol and other medication that was starting to affect my life in difficult ways and affecting my mental and emotional health. So I reached out initially in 2017, and I had some one-to-one sessions. I then went sort of out on my own, but I came back into the service 2019, and I came in and I did groups with DHI, which was really beneficial because I connected and met with other people who had substance use or alcohol problems. Whilst I was a client with DHI and I was doing the groups, I used to really enjoy it, and I'd get really involved and participate. And somebody suggested to me, one of the facilitators, a recovery worker, said that I would be good perhaps at doing peer work, and that really interested me, because I think one of the things is when you finish these sort of groups, you're left thinking, well, what do I do now? You know, how to carry on this journey, and there's a bit of a gap. So I was really keen to sort of get involved and see how I could help other people, because you know, DHI had really helped me. I'm now an employee of DHI. I've been working for them here since the middle of June. My role now is a peer support coordinator for housing. So I work alongside Bristol City Council's substance use support team. When I was a peer, it continued this sort of the connection that I found in the groups, because I was working with other people who had been through a similar situation to me. They'd come out the other side, they're on their recovery journey. So that was the connection to other people. You know, it gave me the ability to use skills that I hadn't perhaps used for a while because I hadn't been in employment or working. And DHI were really good at sort of encouraging creativity and sort of new ideas, you know, and that was really helpful, you know, and I suppose made me feel valued as well and helped my self-esteem a lot.
I reached about 37, which is quite late in life, so I'd been on intravenous amphetamines all that time. I began taking heroin on top of my amphetamines, and a couple of years later I began doing crack cocaine. So to cut a very long story short, things became unmanageable. I think I'd been using against my will for a couple of years, and I started to connect with services. I was doing smart meetings, the odd, you know, fellowship meeting and stuff like that, just dipping my toe in, trying to connect with people that had got recovery. DHI, they got me detoxed and into rehab and stuff like that, and I had a bit of a bump when I came back to Bristol, because obviously it brought everything up for me, and I was advised by one of the senior peer managers here at the time to think about volunteering, and I'd never considered doing anything like that. You know, it's all about self-seeking, what was for Paul, you know. But I also realised that I'd reached a bit of a crossroads in life, and I really needed to start taking control for, you know, to improve things and make things more manageable, more in my own control and stuff. I found actually that I enjoyed being in an office environment and being given responsibility and being able to support clients who were in the same boat as me a couple of you know, a few months before that, I used what's called transferable skills. So what that actually means is all the skills that I learned over nearly 40 years of intravenous drug use, I turned them into the communication, the networking, and all of that stuff. I could flip it into something positive. There are a lot of people out there that have known me at my worst, and those same people now see me at my best. I'm too old to go back to my previous lifestyle. If I survived it, I'm certainly too old to go back to prison or anything, you know. And it's a good feeling to help other people. I've only got positive things to say about DHI. Ultimately, they saved my life and they helped me when I was completely lost in the world. And they helped me get a place in rehab, you know, so I've got a lot to be grateful for. They're quite knowledgeable. They've got, you know, a long time in the role, a lot of training behind them. And the stuff that they provide in-house for us as peer supporters is fantastic. We run SMART from here as well, which is one of the mutual aid groups, you know, so sometimes people find it more easily to connect and they come to DHI for that. And I help to co-facilitate with that sometimes, and it just makes me feel like I've got like a responsibility in life now, you know, rather than an irresponsibility.